Hello, welcome to the Crochet Road tutorial for the mini Starflower Christmas baubles. You can make from this tutorial either the little starflower shaped Christmas bauble, so one with the overlay that looks like this, or the one with the more star shaped points. Now this one's made on a plastic Christmas bauble, and these four are all made just on a styrofoam bauble, which looks quite cute as well. They are the same size. So let's get started with what we need. We need mercerized cotton in a sport weight or a 5-ply weight, using Crochet Capri, but you could also use any of Scapious Catona, Stracamaya, Catania, the Yarn and Colours Must Have, or the Bendigo 8-ply cotton, and there's probably others as well. Also you need a shiny yarn, so I'm using Twilly's Gold Fingering. You can also use Crea Deluxe Shiny, and there are a few others that you could use. I'm not too sure on those because I haven't tried any others. Pair of scissors, a 3mm hook, a 2.5mm hook, a fine yarn needle, a stitch marker, and a little plastic bauble. And let's get started. I'll just mention that I've got my colours lined up in the order they're going to be used. So round 1, round 2, round 3 for the overlay, then round 4, back to round 5 if you're going to do the spokes of the star, you use that colour again, then round 6, and your joining colour is round 7. Okay, so to begin with, we're going to make a magic ring. This is the way I like to make it. Put the end of the yarn in my hands, I wrap it around the first 2 fingers, make a little X there, then I hold the rest of the yarn in between my little finger and my ring finger. I pop the hook underneath, grab onto this strand and pull it through and twist my hook towards me at the same time, and then I usually lift up the ring finger like that, and I just grab that strand, pull it through, and then I usually pull out that center because it's twisted. The end is usually twisted like that. I like to work into a relatively small magic ring, makes it easier for me to work into. Now to begin with, we're going to do a chain 3, which acts as our first, actually chain 2, sorry, which acts as our first double crochet stitch. And then we're going to do another 11 double crochets into the round. That's 1, 2, even going to make that ring a little smaller. I just find it gets a bit unwieldy and difficult to work into if you don't keep it a bit smaller. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's a total of 12, including that chain 2 at the beginning. Now for each round, tighten up your magic ring. I do recommend an invisible join, so keeps your stitch count more true, and it makes it a lot easier to work into that stitch in the next round, in my opinion, rather than using a slip stitch join. So let's do that really quickly. Thread up your yarn needle. Now I said fine yarn needle, I just meant the fine one of the 2 because there's a thicker one as well. But with a fine yarn like this, 5-ply, 4-ply, 5-ply cotton, it's actually easier to use the fine one. Now you are going to work your invisible join into the first true double crochet stitch, which is this one here. There's your chain 2, 1, 2, so don't work into that. Going to make like a kind of a fake stitch on top of it. So pull through, not too tight, so that's your front loop that's formed right there. That's your front loop of the invisible join, and then forming the back loop, you put your needle down through the back loop and the third loop. I'm doing this through my camera, makes it a little tricky. Through the back loop and the third loop right there. Pull that through, and then that, as you pull it through nice and gently, forms that faux stitch. It's actually just like a little fake stitch. You can see the V just like all the other V's, and that makes it easier to work into that stitch. So that forms the top of the first stitch, which was just a chain 2. Quite like that, makes it nice and neat. There are other ways to do it. They can be a bit tricky, so I think just to keep it simple, we'll do it like this time around. And even more simple, because it's a Christmas ornament and it's not going to be washed at all, getting twisted up, just going to knot the ends, which I don't normally do because I really like the back of my crochet to look as good as the front, and I'm sure many of you are just the same. And if it was something that anyone was going to see the back of ever, I would not knot the ends. I would not knot them. I wouldn't knot them. Let's put it that way. So I'm just going to do that for each round. I'm going to do a invisible join, knot the ends together with the granny knot, and trim them. So cheeky, isn't it? But it's so much quicker. For this one, that's partly why it only takes less than an hour to make this, because you can save a bit of time by little tricks like that. Okay, now back for round 2. In round 2 and subsequent rounds, I like to start in a different stitch to where I just finished the round. So I finished in that stitch. I'm going to start, halfway around or so. This is a back loop only round, so attach your yarn with a slip stitch in the back loop only, and chain 2, nice tight slip stitch, and then do a half double crochet. So it's effectively 2 half double crochets in that first stitch, and then you're going to do 2 half double crochets in the back loop only of every stitch around, which will be a total of 24 half double crochet. So I will see you when you finish this round. And now you're ready to start round 3. I like to use a 2.5mm hook for round 3. Just helps to go down a hook size for this next stage. And I'm just going to attach my yarn in the front loop, any stitch. Basically I'll start in any stitch along here in the front loop only, and just with a slip stitch in that front loop. And we're going to chain 2. And you see the stitch directly underneath from round 1, so it's right here. We're going to skip the next one and then attach with a slip stitch into the next one. Front loop only again. That's why we left the front loops free in round 1. And then chain 2. And then we're going to count or skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and go into the 4th front loop only of round 2 and do a slip stitch, chain 2, skip the next stitch of round 1, slip stitch in the next stitch, chain 2, skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, and I just need to double check I've got that right. Skip 1, 2, 3 and slip stitch in the next, skip, chain 2, skip the next. Sometimes a bit tricky to see, so that's what you've worked into. You're skipping that one, and just do that all the way around, except I'll probably just show you this straight through because it's a bit challenging sometimes. 1, 2, 3, front loop only please, chain 2. My light is fading. I use natural light for all my photos and videos, and it took me a while to get organised today to start doing this video again because it's the second time I've made it. I'm learning a lot. 1, 2, 3 and slip stitch, 1, 2 chains and slip stitch, 2 chains, skip 1, 2, 3, checking that, yep. So just take your time with that round. Sometimes the little overlay bits can be fiddly, and then I like to join it just with a front post single crochet. So we're going to go from front to back, grab the yarn, pull up a loop, grab the yarn again and pull through 2. Now we're just going to leave that yarn hanging, and that's the reason we have a stitch marker handy to just hold the place there of that loop. We're going to come back to it shortly. So that round looks like the little star that you could see on the finished baubles, or the little kind of floral starry kind of a look. Okay, for round 4 I'm going to use one of the pastel colours, pastel ombre blues, and we're back to the original 3mm hook size. This is again a back loop only round. Now what you want to do is a little bit of a trick here. You want to keep your yarn from round 3 on your right hand side if you're right handed, and you keep your yarn that you're going to work with for round 4 on your left. That's how I like to work. And then this loose end will be behind because you're going to work over it, whereas the loop that you're going to work into next round you want to keep on top. So make sure you don't enclose that. So we start this is a back loop only round of half double crochets, and we are going to start with a slip stitch in any stitch, back loop only, and then just 2 quite tight chains, which forms our first half double crochet. And then we're going to go into the next stitch with 1 half double crochet and into the next back loop and third loop. If you're like me, you like to do your half double, well, any back loop stitching actually through the back loop and then through the third loop as well, if possible. So that's 3 half double crochets effectively, because that first chain counts as a stitch. And then in the next stitch you'll increase, so half double crochet increase, which is 2 stitches in 1, 2 in this next one, 1, 2. So just repeat that around. So 1, 2, 3, and then increase in the next stitch. So keep doing that and I'll see you at the end of the round. Okay, so we're ready to start round 5. Now this is going to be another overlay round if you want spokes on your star. If not, you can actually just finish that yarn off, or you could have already done so, and pull it through to the back, knot it like the other ones, and continue on. Just skip this little bit of the video. So let's go for those that do want to do round 5. Should mention that round 4 actually has 30 half double crochet in total, and I've finished off with an invisible join once again. Back with your 3mm hook. This works a little bit better because you do a chain length, and it sits better if you back to the 3mm rather than using a 2.5 for this one. I did try it, but it does work better like this. So now what I'd like to do is chain 2 and then another 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so 6 in total. 2 is acting as your first double crochet, and then the 4 is your chain 4 in between to jump over to the next point of the star. Then we do a front post double, which is yarn over hook, hold those 2 loops on your hook there, insert the hook from right to left underneath the point of the star, pull up a loop, grab the yarn and pull through 2, grab the yarn and pull through 2, and that's your front post double made. Chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you can see, I forgot to pop my yarn skein on the left, and it does work a lot better if you're right-handed to work with the yarn on the left, and if you're left-handed to work with the yarn on the right. We'll do one more. So front post double, hold those loops on your hook once you've yarned over, insert your hook from right to left, grab the yarn, pull it through, grab the yarn, pull through 2, grab the yarn, pull through 2. That's one front post double made. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. You just do that all the way around. Trying to be too fast there, wasn't I? Just trying to get this quickly done because I don't really want you to have to watch a very long video. That's why I keep stopping, pausing, and allowing you to go at your own pace. That's the way I like to work. I don't know, I would like to hear from you and hear what you like better. Once you've finished that round and you've done the last chain 4, slip stitch into the second chain, which is effectively like the top of the first double crochet stitch. And then that's the end of your, you don't need this dark blue anymore, so we can actually fasten that off now. So this is what it looks like at the end of round 5. And we're going to start with round 6. It's the last of the ombre pastel colours. I just use the light aqua colour here. And you're going to work through these stitches of round 4, but not over the chain length. We're going to tuck that behind because it gets a little bulky otherwise for this particular bauble. So let's attach the yarn anywhere, whoops, actually into the first of the 4 crochet stitches in between any of these posts is a good spot. So attach it through both loops with a slip stitch, just do a little chain and then single crochet in that same stitch, single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches along, so that's 4 all together, and then a front post single crochet around the front post double crochet. So right to left, grab the yarn and then finish it as though it's a normal single crochet. Then tuck that chain length again. Can get a little fiddly, just tuck it under like so, skipping the stitch that's directly underneath the front post double, and just working into 1, 2, 3, 4 in between. So that's 1 single crochet, 2 singles, 3 and 4 singles, and then again front post single crochet, grab the yarn, pull it through, grab the yarn and pull through 2. I love doing front post single crochet. I don't know about you. I was really scared of them for quite some time. So if you're scared of them, don't be. They're fun. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one must belong to that, I'd say. Otherwise I've made a mistake. I will have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's fine. So just keep doing that and I'll see you at the end of round 6. Okay, so we finished round 6. We've done another invisible join and we have 30 single crochets on the outer round. So we've got our little Christmas bauble here. I've taken the top off it just so that you can crochet right up to the very tip. Up here you'll see towards the end, and I've done another half already. So what I'm going to do is put these together, spokes together, so your spokes kind of point to the other spoke on the other side, and then we're going to single crochet around 20 of the 30 stitches in that final round. We're going to put the 2 layers together and do a single crochet round. Now this slippery yarn is so slippery, I would suggest that you start with the slip knot on your hook for this standing single crochet. Leave quite a length because that's the end you're going to tie your bauble up with. Then you don't have to weave that end in either. So it's a win. Now, ready to go. Any stitch you can start in. Go through the front and back loop of each side, pull up a loop, grab the yarn and pull through 2. And then pull down on that so it's nice and taut. And then just keep going around to 20 in total. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll let you do that and see you when you've done 20. So we have done around the first 20 stitches, and then I'm just going to pop this in. This is quite hilarious because it often pops out again. Do it really, like, it's quite a tight fit, but I think that really helps it to keep its round shape. And then you push the top of it so it's butting up against the first stitch like this. And then this is a bit more fiddly, but it's the same thing as you've just been doing. So you're stitching up through one side, then through the other. Finish those last 9 stitches or so. You probably won't get into that last stitch, maybe not into the last 2. And I'll see you at the top. Okay, so I've done up to the last stitch. You can just see that front loop there of the last stitch. You're not going to get into that one, that's fine. And there's the stitch on the other side. So you've basically done around 29 single crochet for the joining round. And then we can just fasten that off with a decent length as well. Pull on the loop. And now before we put that end back on, I'm going to try, I don't know if all baubles are like this, but this one has like a little, it has a hole directly through it. So I thought we could just thread the needle up and go through the top of that hole and then attach the plastic top, and I think that'll work. So there's one that's gone through. You have to be creative with these things sometimes. The first one I did looked terrible, as you can imagine. That's what it's all about. Seeing what we can, how we can get our creativity to work for us. So they're both hanging through the top now, just like so. Ready to go. So I'm just going to pop that top back on, nice and firm. And then try it whatever length you would like it to be. And your little Starflower mini Christmas bauble is finished. I hope you've had a great time. I certainly have, even though it's the second time I've made this video from start to finish, plus all the outtakes in between. I really enjoy it, and I hope you do too. Okay, have a great Christmas everybody. Bye.